Electoral Commission seeks additional 179 billion shillings. Good evening once again. And now in our top stories this evening, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has announced plans to build 2 additional international airports specifically for tourism purposes. He stated that the government is collaborating with investors to construct these airports in tourism-rich areas of Kidepo and Kanungu, allowing wealthy tourists to fly directly to Uganda's national parks. Museveni made the remarks during the premiere of the documentary Hidden Uganda, produced by American journalist Peter Greenberg and Museveni's daughter Diana Charimera, the CEO of Age Safaris. We have the details.
A country in the heart of Africa, at a critical juncture in history, bursting with riches of beauty, culture, and traditions, and still.
The documentary Hidden Uganda, created by renowned American journalist Peter Greenberg, is aimed at showcasing Uganda's natural beauty to the world. It's already been viewed by over 1.3 million people globally. During the premiere attended by top government officials, President Museveni expressed his admiration for the documentary and praised the producers, including Peter Greenberg and his daughter Diana Charimera.
I'm glad that you are beginning to, this film is beginning to expose this uniqueness, this different way of life to the world, because I think it's very good. Me, I never like to go. I like it here. I love it so much because I don't think that, and I want other people to come and share.
Museveni revealed plans to build 2 more international airports dedicated to tourism.
We are also building another international airport in Kanungu. Area for the same reason. So that people don't have to come to Entebbe, then drive from Entebbe to that long distance. They can go straight.
Vice President Jessica Alupo commended Peter Greenberg for his efforts in promoting Uganda's story to the world.
I wish to extremely congratulate you for spending much of your time, energy, and resources and confidences to think about promoting tourism in Uganda.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Age Safaris, Diana Charimera, expressed her enthusiasm for promoting Uganda and urged President Museveni to allow more time for Peter Greenberg to feature Uganda in his Royal Tour series in the United States.
I think he and his team have done a commendable job in trying to capture the essence of our beautiful motherland.
Peter Greenberg also thanked President Museveni for granting him unrestricted access to Uganda's stunning landscapes for the documentary.
Again, I thank all my friends for being here tonight, the friends I met, the friends who worked so hard to make this happen. Mr. President, Madam First Lady, Madam Vice President, and all the other dignitaries who are here, thank you for taking your time to come tonight, and I hope you'll enjoy the show. And again, thank you for having me in Uganda.
Following the premiere, the documentary will now be broadcast on Ugandan television, including UBC TV, and will also be available on various online platforms. Philip Aguta for UBC News in Kampala.
Thank you, Philip Aguta. Now, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has arrived in South Sudan on a diplomatic mission aimed at resolving tensions between President Salva Kiir and his first Vice President, Dr. Riek Machar. Museveni's visit follows an invitation from President Kiir, who sought his intervention as a senior statesman in the region. The crisis escalated after Machar was placed under house arrest by Kiir, who accused him of plotting a rebellion to destabilize the country. Now, in a statement posted on X, Museveni reaffirmed Uganda's commitment to strengthening bilateral relations with South Sudan and promoting regional stability.
Uganda's national carrier, Uganda Airlines, Uganda's President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni touched Juba International Airport in South Sudan on Thursday afternoon. To receive President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni at the airport was the South Sudan counterpart, President Salva Kiir. Clad in his usual white attire, Uganda's president seems to be on a peacekeeping mission. As the two men with hats walked on the red carpet, I guess the brief chat was about the deteriorating security situation in South Sudan. In their presence, there was a short program at the airport, and it began by anthems. The parade was equally mounted to offer guard of honor to the visiting presidents, or to symbolize that Uganda's President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni was on a state visit to South Sudan. To receive Uganda's President, His Excellency Salva Kiir was in company of South Sudanese Minister of Presidential Affairs, Chol Maud Ajong, Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation Minister, Ramadan Mohamed Abdallah, Defense and Veteran Affairs Minister, Chowthon Balok, among others. On the Ugandan side, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni was received by the Defense and Veteran Affairs Minister, Jacob Oboth, Senior Presidential Advisor, General Proscovia Nareiso. Later, the two presidents checked in at Juba International Airport VVIP Lounge. Later on in the day, the two presidents had closed-door sessions. The closed-door meeting, it was attended by, among others, Uganda's Minister for Defense, Jacob Oboth, and Minister for East African Affairs, also First Deputy Prime Minister, Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga. Besides bilateral engagements, both Yoweri Museveni and Salva Kiir are expected to extensively chat about the slip towards violence for the youngest nation in the world, arising from the recent sour relationship between first Vice President Riek Machar and Salva Kiir Mayardit. Details about the strip are still scattered, but the world is hopeful that indeed the old man with the heart will possibly persuade his comrade to drop a gun and pick dialogue for the interest of peace of South Sudan. Robert Onyango, UBC News.
Now, the government has commissioned the construction of Kabwoya-Buhuka Road, one of the critical roads connecting Kingfisher oil well in the Albertine region in Bunyoro. Now, the Prime Minister of Uganda, Robina Nabanja, represented President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni at Kabwoya in Kikube district in Bunyoro sub-region.
Kabwoya-Buhuka Road is one of the critical roads connecting Kingfisher oil well in the Albertine region of Bunyoro. The Prime Minister of Uganda, Robina Nabanja, represented President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni at Kabwoya in Kikube district.
Of Uganda, it is my honor to officially launch the construction upgrade of this road Kabwoya-Buhuka, 43 kilometers, officially launched and construction must start now. Wow.
The 43-kilometer road will be constructed by the Chinese China Railway 70th Group at a cost of 263 billion Uganda shillings.
I don't want to hear that after I left, all the machines left.
The Chikube District Chairperson, Peter Banora, implored the Chinese contractor to safeguard the environment during the construction of the road.
Please, the contractors, the environment, keep keen interest on preservation and conservation of the environment, specifically in the Bugoma forest area.
The Prime Minister directed the contractor to include 5 kilometers for town councils and sub-counties as a practice in the contract.
I know this road will come with a number of opportunities. I will ask the contractor or the engineer, shall we give the kilometers we usually give townships or town centers? Does this road come with that opportunity? And if it's not, I'm going to direct you so that it is included. And that will now help Wairagaza, Kabwoya, and of course Changwali, those townships. So you share those 5 kilometers among the 5.
But I'm requesting that in your many camps there, just 200 meters from your camp to the city school in Wairagaza, those are a few meters. You just connect it with electricity now that you have that transformer there.
Rugudo barucommissioning kyalero tukuligamba nti bagenda commissioning. Our contractor China 7, we have worked with you for a very long time and you have done a good job. We hope that you also do a good job on this road, and I want to congratulate you for this achievement.
She warned the locals to avoid stealing construction materials.
I want you to desist from that habit. I have never been told something like that here, but if it has been happening, stop.
In a speech by the President, read by the Prime Minister, President Museveni said the infrastructure in Bunyoro must be used to create wealth and jobs.
The road starts straight away. Because the contractor has got his money, he wants to start. And I'm told you had idle machines. I have seen a number of machines on the road. Please don't remove them from the road. Let the road start right away. You had invited the president to launch this road. It will be a shame for you to take 6 months before you start. Must be translated into jobs and wealth for the households in order for this development to be meaningful. It is on this note that I urge all households in Uganda to select an economic enterprise in the 4 sectors of commercial agriculture.
About 800 kilometers of roads connecting all the districts under the Albertine region of Bunyoro have since been constructed by government, while others are still undergoing construction.
Completed road projects in the Bunyoro sub-region include Masindi Park Junction and Tangi Junction, Parabulisa roads, 159 kilometers. Buhimba Narweyo, Buramaji, and Buramaji Igayaza Kakumiro, 93 kilometers. Chigumba Bulima, Kabwoya, and Kabwoya Kagadi Chenjojo, Mubende Kakumiro, Kagadi, 107 kilometers. There are also other ongoing projects such as the construction of an access road to Kabale International Airport.
The construction of Kabwoya-Buhuka is expected to be completed by 2027.
The Ministry of Information, Communication, Technology and National Guidance has expressed a strong desire to move quickly to address technological advancements and connectivity issues. While appearing before the ICT Committee of Parliament to present the Ministerial Policy Statement for 2025-26, the Minister for ICT, Dr. Kabwoya-Buhuka, highlighted that the budget allocated to the ministry is inadequate. We have more details in this report.
Officials from the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, led by Minister Dr. Kabwoya-Buhuka, appeared before the ICT Committee of Parliament to present their ministerial policy statement. The policy statement indicates that the budget projections for the ministry's financial year 2025-2026, including areas of pensions for Uganda Post of 100 billion shillings, amount to 205.310 billion shillings. Accordingly, the budget of NITAU is 268.659 billion shillings, which includes areas.
Offset the arrears, the total budget remains 105 billion 295 million Uganda shillings. And clearly, this indicates that our ministry is grossly underfunded if we are going to attain digital transformation in this country and also communicate effectively.
The Undersecretary of the Ministry, Sophia Nantongo, presented some responses to questions from the committee. She discussed the NITAU's recruitment plan to fill 19 vacant positions.
Information Technology Authority Uganda has secured formal clearance from the Ministry of Public Service to fill 19 vacant positions. As authorized in the attached official communication, this approval underscores the authority's commitment to strengthening its operational capacity through strategic staffing aligned with the institution's priority.
This response led to a heated debate, with committee members questioning how NITAU is requesting recruitment when it had been rationalized that after 3 years it will fall under the Ministry of ICT.
So before the transition period, we are calling for recruitment. So here we need to come out with a lot of emphasis telling us why you are calling for filling these vacancies, yet NITAU was rationalized.
Can this word be clarified that, please, the law under which NITAU is operating is this one. The other one that was passed has still been served, and its lights will not be flashing or lighting anywhere, not until that period comes. So that when we get this clearly,
we discussed this and aloud agreed that NITAU can recruit, and I think Solicitor General has also cleared the recruitment, but with the proviso that you give the staff contracts not exceeding 3 years.
Officials also addressed concerns regarding the valuation of land belonging to UBC, revealing that the land is still under survey. However, committee members raised questions about the handling of land in Kololo, where a mast belonging to a minister is situated.
We did acquire a land title just in the middle of our land, but that was done just at the time before the vesting order was issued in 2005. It's a legal case. It's before court, so we hope that justice shall prevail. But also political intervention, I think, is called for to make sure that it's a win-win, because we are all into transmission.
Some agencies have also submitted their recruitment plans in the ministerial policy statement. UBC, for instance, revealed a staffing gap of 188 positions.
We are struggling. In this book, when I checked on page 53, under UBC, I discovered there are some departments in UBC which have 0 staff.
Billion for wage, which we have received this financial year, rolling to next financial year. As we did mention, we have a shortfall in our establishment of 188 positions. We would want to fill those, and there is a deficit of 5 billion in wage. We really request that this be taken into consideration.
Committee members also inquired about how the ministry is collaborating with the Ministry of Energy and expressed concerns about the regulation of fiber companies.
One point with 8 to 10 poles and with cables running at a very low level. So I wonder how this person, this private firm, was cleared to implement such a project.
Because we see uncoordinated deployment of fiber, just like colleagues have said, in one place you'll find over 10 different providers having different 10 poles.
The MTN already has infrastructure there. Then you should use the MTN infrastructure to do your internet or your digital services. So that's what the policy says. But I think the weakness has been on implementation.
I'm Nafka Farid and Gloria Gwetabinji at Parliament.
UBC News Tonight. Now, the Uganda police have embarked on a big project of constructing houses for lower rank officers. The Inspector General of Police, Abbas Byakagaba, presided over the groundbreaking ceremony of the first phase of 1,200 housing units at Naguru Police Barracks.
The deployable police officers' welfare and dilapidated accommodation facilities have compelled Uganda police management revise priorities.
For example, I'm aware last time when it rained, a good number of people lost some of their property. I saw water having interfered with our environment. I saw how people were unable even to know where to place their mattresses. Chase away all those conditions.
The force has embarked on the construction of accommodation facilities to police officers, especially those residing in barracks.
It touches on the welfare of our people. The people who support us as management of the Uganda Police Force. The people who support us to achieve what this country tasks us to do via the Constitution.
The Inspector General of Police, Abbas Byakagaba, highlights some factors that moved police management to adjust priorities.
I found the environment not tenable, even for me to address my people. And it touched me. That same day, I called for management meeting.
When we look at the barracks, our community of the barracks, we used to have electricity load shedding, which we could have electricity only at night. At daytime, we could not have electricity. And because of that, the level of conflict had gone extremely high.
The IGP witnessed the groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of 1,200 housing units at Naguru Police Barracks.
To improving the lives of those who serve our country, Uganda, with honor and sacrifice. Adequate housing is not a privilege, it is a right and a cornerstone of effective service delivery.
To achieve the project in a period of 1 year, police was granted a leeway to bypass some procurement procedures.
And of course, all this job we are going to do, the 1,200 units, will be done by our technical team. And this one, I can assure you, it will be put up within a record time.
The housing project is part of a broader welfare strategy addressing key needs including healthcare, education and economic empowerment. The force commits to extend the project across the country. Abdunasir Lubwama for UBC.
Right now, accounting officers who fail to meet at least 50% of their performance targets will face immediate dismissal. This decision follows the government's establishment of a committee tasked with evaluating and appraising accounting officers nationwide as part of efforts to enhance service delivery. This initiative, announced by the head of public service, Lucy Nachobe, seeks to raise standards of accountability and performance among accounting officers.
The head of public service, Lucy Nachobe, has instructed accounting officers to meet at least 50% of their performance targets or face mandatory resignation.
We are going to introduce an appraisal system beginning next financial year. I've been appraising the PSA, and I've actually been asking the PSA, how does he manage to appraise all of you? And I've been saying, I appraised them, but I know that nobody can appraise 170 people. It's not possible. So we are going to form a committee that will be appraising cows, down class, and city class.
Nachobe stressed the importance of achieving these targets during a 2-week retreat organized by the Minister of Local Government for Accounting Officers at the National Leadership Institute in Chankwas district. She made it clear that any officer who fails to meet these targets will be required to resign.
You fail to deliver 50% of them, you go home. So we are going to advocate for an increase in salary, but also advocate for contracts. So that those who cannot deliver, they leave the service and they go home.
The permanent secretary of the Minister of Local Government, Benjamin Kumumanya, expressed full support for the government's initiative to hold accounting officers accountable.
For anybody to get the performance results, you must assess. So our prize is going to help us see what is the outcomes, what are the outputs of planned activities. What did you do with the money you were given as a vote controller? So we completely agree and we are part of the process for that new assessment.
However, he also emphasized the need to address the challenges accounting officers face on the ground.
The cow does not have a vehicle, but we expect him to be moving around, checking on health centers, on schools, or in towns. It will be very difficult. So this will help us to come out with a clear position, bonded together to improve service delivery in the county.
Key concerns raised by accounting officers included the need for salary enhancement that reflect the demands of their roles, as well as lack of transport for monitoring and inspecting government projects.
What the government should do, it should start with chief executive officers and accounting officers across the spectrum. What the government has done, it has enhanced salary 100% for the chief executive officers that are also at the center. And it has done 0% at the local government.
Nachobe emphasized the government's priority of salary enhancement for scientists and military personnel before addressing the salary concerns of other sectors.
Even yesterday's meeting, we are pushing TSS meeting, we are pushing PSS cover and allocation. But he always tells you that's not the priority for now. So we are going to wait a bit.
Joseph Oko for UBC.
The Parliamentary Committee on Presidential Affairs wants an increment of the State House budget in the forthcoming financial year 2025-26. The committee observed that in the current financial year 2024-2025, some activities under State House faced budget constraints. Now, in the same meeting, some MPs also wanted increment on some presidential activities, including trade and investment.
Officials from the State House, led by the Minister for Presidency, Millie Babalanda, have met with the Parliamentary Committee on Presidential Affairs to present their budget allocations for the financial year 2025-2026.
Under presidential initiatives, we have two components that got an increment. One was the transfer of operations of the National Secretariat for Patriotism Clubs from Office of the President to State House. This was a directive, and it came with 4.5 billion shillings to cater for the activities of the National Secretariat for Patriotism Clubs.
Key priorities in this 2025-2026 budget are 443 billion under non-wage, 9.1 billion under promotion of regional and international relations, 83.088 billion is allocated for community outreach, 82 billion for poverty reduction, among others.
The other priority area is the implementation of any presidential initiative that is set up in State House. The allocation is 103 billion shillings.
However, the committee discovered that some activities, including presidential pledges, are not fully implemented due to budget constraints.
The activities will always come after activities after activities after activities, but if you don't have enough budget, it will be hard for you to cater for all these activities.
The president has been pledging for almost so many years since he came to power. But we know our budget. We really display our budget here, and we know its capacity. It cannot capture all these pledges at a go. So that means that some issues of pledges must remain in the society. And therefore, wherever we meet them, we don't blame anybody, because you know that your capacity of the budget cannot satisfy them.
Other key areas that the committee observed for increment include trade and investment, that is requesting for 1.5 billion. The committee cites that the presidential promotion of trade and investment has yielded fruits, seeking for more funds.
Look at our foreign direct investment, which was attracted so far by 2025, according to World Bank data. We are at $2.8 billion US, which is about 10.29 trillion. This is all majorly about 90% the president's work. But you see, you are allocating only 1.5 billion. 1.5 billion to a president. It's like, I don't even know how to call it.
The committee also lauded State House on the skilling initiatives and urged them to expand on the skilling hubs to increase on the numbers of the beneficiaries. Lydia Chomkama and Gloria Gutabinji, Parliament.
UBC News Tonight takes a very short break, but return with more stories after these messages. Don't move an inch.
Come on, mo pocket, tambula body street, issues are my target. We are what? Unstoppable. We are what? Unstoppable. I'm in a plantation, but on a global mission, internet ambition, full condition. We are what? Unstoppable. We are what? Unstoppable. Oro cash is gone, netagayo karoni, niga mukafoni, money in the zone. We are what? Unstoppable. We are what? Unstoppable. We are good.
With you and MTN together, our ambition is unstoppable.
We are what? Unstoppable!
Step into a world of excellence, comfort and pride with Royal Foam Furniture, crafted to perfection right here in Uganda. We bring you state-of-the-art living room furniture and bedding products at affordable prices. Our wide variety of mattresses include orthopedic, pillow top, spring mattresses suitable for institutions like hotels, and many others for home comfort. With every piece telling a story of royal excellence, our products are built with the highest quality materials made to last. Experience royalty with Royal Foam Furniture, proudly made in Uganda, so buy Uganda and build Uganda. Visit our showrooms at Ginger Road, Chambogo Junction, Bukoto Chisasi Road, and on Victoria Mall, Entebbe, on the first floor.
Ganyiga star 278 then hash ujja kuba ng'oyimbidde mu kazannyo nga sente zino zimula wano zina wangula zino wano milioni 10.6 ebintu bino nasooka biraba ku TV nange saasooka kikiriza ninga mulaye kino kiyinza okuba nga kituufu oba byaddala si bya bufere sente zo nazifunye zo nazikoze ki naziwangudde amasanyu nina mangi ebyeto byange byembadde njagala ngenda bituukiriza.
Uganda National Lottery. Dream, play,
Participants must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The Uganda National Lottery is operated by Tuba Uganda and regulated by the National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory.
Welcome back from that break, and we're glad you're still with us here in UBC News Tonight. In more news this evening, the National Agricultural Research Organization, in collaboration with the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, has officially released a new high-yielding cooking banana variety known as Narrowban 6. The director of the research at the National Agriculture Research Laboratories, Dr. Roboni Tumuhimbise, described the variety as a game changer for food security and nutrition in Uganda. We have the details.
Narita 17, now Narrowban 6, is a new banana variety developed by the National Agriculture Research Organization and the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture.
The goal is to ensure that we have developed a very good banana variety acceptable to the end users. We have gone through all the processes to ensure that what we are offering the end users is a good product that has gone through all processes that are checked.
Developed from Ntuka Matoke as the mother, Narrowban 6 has been proven to perform better than the previous released varieties, yielding 30% more.
In terms of yield, it outperforms the other recently released hybrid by more than 30%. So in terms of yield, it is better. Now, in terms of the other characteristics that I said, the branding with the local preferred banana varieties, it blends well. You can't even see. It blends well.
Extensive trials have proven Narrowban 6 to withstand challenging environmental conditions and with the ability to resist major banana disease.
Different stages, we have to identify the sources of resistance, and then we have to incorporate those in the parents. So our main role is to provide these parents which have the sources of resistance that we need. So IETA does that. As you saw, this one started with a local landrace in Tukura. It was crossed with Kalukata 4, and then also further crossed with other males which have resistance. So our role as IETA is to provide those parents which have the resistance, since our local varieties don't have the resistance that we need.
Despite these advancements, experts note that some farmers remain hesitant to adopt improved crop varieties due to concerns over adaptability and familiarity.
We are saying morphologically the plant looks close to the locals. I know there are people out there, and possibly even politicians, who will get out when the banana gets out there. People look at it and those people will begin discouraging farmers to not grow it. It is a genetically modified banana. I want to confirm before you that this is not a genetically modified banana. It is a conventionally bred banana that we bred using natural means.
Mary Namkose, Mike Bakabulindi, UBC News.
Now, government is committed to advancing environmental conservation through a strategic initiative with a focus on educating and empowering the younger generation by partnering with these organizations such as Uganda Little Hands Go Green. These efforts aim to foster a sense of responsibility among children, positioning them as key advocates for a sustainable and an environmentally secure future. Through activities such as tree planting, community engagement and educational campaigns, Uganda has made significant strides in enhancing forest cover and promoting sustainable environmental practices nationwide.
To support initiatives that promote environmental advocacy through a strong emphasis on conservation. This is achieved through partnerships targeting children and youth in schools and communities. One such initiative is the collaboration with Uganda Little Hands Go Green, which seeks to nurture and empower children as drivers of environmental conservation education.
Even when conservation education is not part of the official curriculum, they strive to work with Little Hands Go Green to find ways to continuously educate and inculcate in the children the consistency, passion, and love for protection of the environment.
And what they're telling us is the country is burning, the globe is burning. For us as adults who are already in the latter transition period of our lives, we need to ensure that we live a world that is livable for them.
Uganda Little Hands Go Green recently led a march of over 6,000 children through the streets of Kampala, calling for a greener and more sustainable future.
And I must have this on record that there is nobody who has ever taken 6,000 children to the footsteps of Parliament.
So when you get this message at that early stage, that is the best sustainability approach you have. And I think what they are doing is they are challenging us to do something, especially the generation that is older than them, the generation with the money, the generation with the decision-making abilities that can cause immediate change.
The advocacy is carried out through engaging activities including music and fun events that appeal to the youth.
So I would urge all Ugandans to support this young generation and let us make the change that they are challenging us, they are yearning for.
Over the past decade, more than 1 million fruit trees have been planted in schools and communities across more than 50 districts in Uganda, contributing to ongoing tree planting initiatives.
And that wouldn't have been possible without the support of the National Forest Authority, which of course is under the Ministry of Water and Environment, and the NEM of course for its technical and institutional support. But again, in a special way, the ministry supports us wherever there are workshops and conferences to build our resilience and institutional capacity to train the trainers, to become the people who actually train the teachers and the children who later on pass on that message. So that's the biggest form of support, and we thank them for that. And yeah, we look forward to even a lot more support, even the one that can take us to the PSST of the Ministry of Finance.
Uganda has made progress in forest restoration, increasing its forest cover from 9.5% in 2015 to 13.3% in 2024, with the goal of reaching 15% by 2026 under the National Development Plan 3. Ivan Kahwa, UBC News.
Now, institutions of higher learning have called on government to consider a reduction on taxes imposed on technological equipment used in the educational settings. The chairman of the board of directors at Isbat University underscored the challenges institutions face due to high tariffs while embracing technological dynamics. The call was made during the inauguration of the university's new state-of-the-art AI and robotics lab, intended to enhance students' exposure to advanced technology and innovation.
With the rapidly advancing technology, there is a growing call for higher learning institutions to adapt to the ever-changing landscape of artificial intelligence, AI, and robotics to make learning easier and more efficient. However, despite the need, there is still a big challenge of high tax tariffs levied on acquisition of AI equipment.
There is no one source where you can find the materials from. So you may have to identify those materials from different parts of the world. That depends upon who designs it and what intellectual capacity you have, your team has in establishing this kind of an objective.
The Commissioner General, Uganda Revenue Authority, John Musinguzi, noted that reduction of tariffs is a multi-stakeholder process and highly dependent on the economic environment.
So what requires policy change, we'll make recommendations to government. And then government will take these proposals to Parliament, and Parliament will put in place the necessary laws that will support this kind of investment. But there's no doubt about it. This is a mission worth supporting, only that we have to follow that kind of process.
Where we have reached with the world now, Ugandans must not be behind.
and you don't have to go outside the country to get this level of training. You can now have it here.
He says the authority is implementing policies that will support tax exemption on education institutions.
App that has been developed for that purpose. It will quickly go through and tell you which taxpayer is compliant, the one who is likely to be importing a lot and paying less, the one who is likely not to be compliant in future, because it analyzes that data over the trends.
To trace tax evaders, Musinguzi says URA is doing all the best to ensure compliance of all taxpayers and increase revenue collection.
The components, the tables, every components, right? The total budget could be crossing like $120,000.
Although Uganda has potential of adopting AI and robotics, the availability of resources to produce supporting technical components locally still poses a big challenge.
The components, the tables, every components, right? The total budget could be crossing like $120,000.
To demonstrate commitment to the technological revolution, Isbert University has invested over $100,000 to equip its AI and robotics lab, a state-of-art hub for future innovations. Irene Faith Nantongo, Andrew Sebira, UBC News.
The State Minister for Youth and Children, Balam Barugahara, has emphasized the need for robust, resilient structures capable of withstanding extreme climate changes, particularly for the youth. This was during the Africa Youth Adaptation Forum, which brought together students, youth-led organizations, universities, government representatives, and climate adaptation experts for a collaborative exchange on climate resilience. We have the details.
The Global Center on Adaptation, in partnership with local youth organizations, have organized the African Youth Adaptation Forum to establish a network of youth engaged in climate adaptation efforts and to highlight youth-led initiatives in this field in the lead-up to COP30 in Brazil. According to the Global Center on Adaptation, Africa is at the forefront of the climate crisis.
You know, it is important that our young people educate their parents on garbage control and how they control and how they dispose of their garbage. One, they should not dispose of garbage in drainage. It will cause blockage. But also, the young people should tell their parents that we are seeing you, my mom and dad, cultivating in a wetland. Why don't you leave wetland for frogs?
Is that by 2030, 100,000 youth will be members. We are living in a climate emergency, but also it's an opportunity to create a climate resilient development, and for that also to create jobs and new opportunities for young people. We want to also recognize the leadership of the government of Uganda, because it's a champion for adaptation, for youth issues, and also for education.
The world has agreed that we need to collectively empower and nurture the young ones to become the main drivers of environmental conservation education and climate action.
A September 2022 report by the Ministry of Water and Environment reveals that Uganda will require over $28 billion in funding between 2022 and 2030 for climate adaptation and mitigation efforts.
But also, most importantly, is what we deal with when it comes to early warning, because releasing climate and weather information timely is something that will help farmers to either adapt and plan very well when it comes to planting. But in order to do that, you require a bit of financing. The National Climate Change Policy and the NDCs articulate this very well. The amount of financing needed is more than $45 billion, which is over and above what we could provide as a country.
During the forum, young people were encouraged to advocate for a resilient economy. The outcomes of the forum will be showcased and presented at COP30 in Brazil.
We intend to work with the GCA to kind of continue having like a routine youth engagement, because we know education and literacy plays a key part in ensuring that people clearly understand the impacts and correspondingly the kind of policy narrative that government is putting forward.
The theme for this inaugural African Youth Adaptation Forum was Youth Leadership to Build Climate-Resilient Economies. Marion Awori and Stephen Kalisia for UBC.
Community Integrated Development Initiatives, CD, has indicated that malnutrition is closely linked to inadequate water, sanitation and hygiene practices, calling for close attention. This was disclosed by following research done on malnutrition and the need for stronger policy implementation to ensure that WASH and nutrition-related policies are effectively enforced with clear accountability mechanisms.
Community Integrated Development Initiatives has commemorated Uganda Water Week by bringing together key stakeholders from various sectors to examine the critical intersection between water, sanitation and hygiene plus nutrition.
Poor nutrition or malnutrition is highly linked to poor WASH statuses. We have the World Health Organization research showing that half of the undernutrition we have in actually worldwide is linked to poor WASH and several infections and diarrheal diseases. So the Right to Grow program comes to address these concerns. How? Through several interventions like sensitizations, radio programs, and dialogues like this one today, where we want to show our different leaders what are the best ways, how best can people be fed, how best can we be able to uptake different good WASH practices.
The Right to Grow program has held different interventions in addressing WASH challenges.
We realized that there is a big challenge of safe water in our community. We try to bring it before council, the council that I was as presiding over, and realized that among the priorities that we do have, the appropriation of money towards safe and clean water was inadequate. It wasn't actually even there in the budget. So it came upon me, myself, to form an organization called Good River Foundation, where we have rehabilitated and constructed over like 9 spring wells in our community.
The Mayor Nakawa Division, Paul Mugambe, said the inclusion of nutrition by community integrated development initiatives is timely.
This is an area that is also going to continue to improve the longevity of our people, the lives of our people, what to eat, when to eat. We have also learned that actually the best food is one that is cheap, while the bad food is one that is expensive, and it's the one, on the contrary, it's what we take as the good food. So we have learned it from CD. We know this intervention is going to help. We welcome it so much with all our hands, and we call upon our people to fully embrace this intervention brought about by CD.
Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
Butabika, Yumbe and Hoima referral hospitals have been recognized as the top performing hospitals in their region in terms of gender and equity compliance, particularly in providing services to vulnerable groups. This is according to the Equal Opportunity Commission's audit report, which was launched at the Commission's headquarters. The report highlights how the 18 regional referral hospitals are meeting gender and equity standards in their service delivery to Ugandans.
Equal Opportunities Commission, in collaboration with heads of various referral hospitals, convened today to release an audit report on these hospitals' performance concerning gender and equity compliance issues. The report focused on critical areas, including planning, budgeting, staff technical expertise, and policies aimed at promoting gender and equity. The survey was done in 18 regional referral hospitals across the country, including Rila, Arua, Yumbe, Entebbe, Hoima, and Kayunga, among others.
And discussing strategies to enhance gender and equity mainstreaming in the health service delivery.
In its findings, the report highlighted the progress made in reducing mortality rates across the country, with Yombe, Hoima and Butabika Regional Referral Hospitals leading in gender and equity compliance issues.
Maternal mortality ratio reduced by 44% from 336 per 100,000 live births in 2016 to 189 per 100,000 live births.
Regional hospitals comply with planning and budgeting process to facilitate delivery of quality services within their area of jurisdiction.
Although progress is there, challenges still persist in these hospitals.
And why should an expectant mother with hearing challenge go to a hospital without an interpreter? And we noted, for example, in Ilila, it takes 120 days for NMS to deliver drugs, essential medicine and other health supplies.
Mariam Naiga, a commissioner from the Health Service Commission, noted that the commission is actively working on new job structures, including positions like sign language interpreters at referral hospitals.
To note, none of the health institutions have staffing above 50%. That is true. However, Commission has been recruiting the various staff, but we note with concern that there are also specialities where we have failed to attract.
The chairperson of the Equal Opportunities Commission, Safia Nawlejoko, recommended that the Minister of Health should consider establishing nationwide health insurance to further improve service delivery.
This is still a very big gap in the provision of health services, because not everybody can afford to immediately pay for the services whenever he gets a health problem.
During this meeting, participants shared their thoughts about the report, citing that it is timely.
We are to make serious improvements in the areas that have been highlighted. We need to tackle the issue of staffing. And the issue of staffing, it starts from Parliament allocating more resources.
That EOC puts also itself in the equation, especially in the recommendations, how it is going to support these regional referral hospitals in closing that gap.
This report serves as an essential step towards improving healthcare services in Uganda, especially for vulnerable populations. Rebecca Nantongo, Susan Nyabugude, UBC News.
Kama nemo pocket, tambula body street, issues are my target. We are what? Unstoppable. We are what? Unstoppable. I'm in a plantation, but on a global mission. Internet ambition, full condition. We are what? Unstoppable. We are what? Unstoppable. Oro cash is gone, netaga yo karoni, nigga mukafoni, money in the zone. We are what? Unstoppable. We are what? Unstoppable. We are good.
With you and MTN together, our ambition is unstoppable.
We are what? Unstoppable!
Join us this Friday, the 4th of April 2025 on UBC TV for an insightful discussion on the 6th Africa Climate Talks and the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, on the topic Bridging Climate Action and Sustainable Development in Africa. Climate change remains a pressing challenge, and the 6th Africa Climate Talks provide a platform to address key solutions for achieving the SDGs. Tune in as experts, policymakers and stakeholders dive into discussions on climate resilience and adaptation strategies, the role of the youth and innovation in sustainability, policies shaping Africa's green future, and collaborative action towards achieving the SDGs.
This message is brought to you by African Network of Parliamentarians on Climate Change, East African Legislative Assembly, in collaboration with the Office of the Prime Minister and Uganda Parliamentary Forum on SDGs, with support from WaterAid Uganda.
Get set for a very special journey deep into the heart of Africa, to a place most people have never experienced. I'm Peter Greenberg, and join me as we navigate a country where old rhythms live on and ancient instruments create modern sounds. A land of distant wonders and the promise of endless bounties, and all still waiting to be discovered. Welcome to Hidden Uganda.
Welcome back, and now into business. Women in the construction sector are calling for greater inclusion in decision-making roles, extending beyond administrative or quality control positions to technical and production-based roles as well. The inaugural Women in Construction Symposium, set for the 11th of April 2025, aims to bridge this gap and highlight the significant opportunities available for women in the building and construction industry.
Despite women and girls making up 51% of Uganda's population, only 10% are involved in Uganda's building and construction sector, pointing to a significant gender gap. On 11th April 2025, the inaugural Women in Construction Symposium, organized by Ugandan National Association of Builders, Suppliers and Engineering Contractors and the Pan-African Chamber of Commerce, will be held at Sheraton Hotel in Kampala, with President Museveni expected as the chief guest.
So we are going to be launching a platform to say that women already are in construction, yes, but one, we are not celebrated, they are not known for what they do. Even when they bring it on the table, the victory may be owned by a man, but we want to see women not only properly profiled in the construction sector but celebrated.
The event aims to highlight the untapped potential of women in the sector and encourage more companies to empower them into key decision-making roles. The first female president of UNABSEC, Binta Kiara Muranga, revealed this during a tour at Roofings Limited in Namamvi ahead of the symposium set for April. Currently, most women in construction sector hold roles in human resource, reception, welfare, or quality control. However, advocates argue that it's time for women to take on key decision-making positions, especially in production, which has long been seen as a male-dominated and labor-intensive area.
We have come up with this initiative, the Women in Construction Symposium, to be able to inspire more girls to come and take up these courses in construction.
The kind of jobs that are available are more prone to be given to men because of the nature. However, we have given opportunities to the women as well. If you go to our marketing department, sales department.
Diana Nanyanzi and Atuembere Gloria are both civil engineers who are working in the building and construction sector. They insist the narrative is slowly changing, pressing on in the long-known male-dominated sector, regardless of the sector's physical demands.
Since it's a male-dominated field, it's a bit difficult, but then with these initiatives, it is becoming a bit easier for us with the help of UNABSEC, and they are trying to really empower women into this field.
In a field which most people used to think it's a male-dominated field, and we have no space, is something that I'm proud to be part of.
Crispus Arinitwe, UBC News.
To the world of sports, the She Gladiators Championship team has been officially flagged off for their journey to Kenya, where they will compete in the Africa Kabaddi Championship at Saleni Stadium. Now, this marks Uganda's second appearance in the tournament following their dominant performance in their previous edition. We have more.
The Africa Kabaddi Championship, Uganda's She Gladiators competed against 20 teams, ultimately emerging victorious against Zanzibar. Now they return to the continental stage, ready to showcase their prowess once again. The game, which consists of 14 players split into 2 squads of 7, is played on a rectangular field measuring 10 by 13 meters in length. Coach Ephraim Makowia took the opportunity to explain the technical aspects of the game, acknowledging that many people are still unfamiliar with the Kabaddi game.
It's a very cheap sport whereby you don't need a lot of equipment to have this game played. You just need a space of 10 meters by 13, and you draw your court, or you draw your play area. So we have 7 players aside and 7 players aside. One player cross what we call a midline towards the opponent's side to look for point. How do they look for points? You chase the defenders. So whatever defender you make a contact to, those are the points you score. Once you tap on them and you cross the midline, those are the points you score. But them, they are trying to stop you or to catch you so that you don't return back. So once they grab you or once they stop you, they also score points. So it's a very simple sport whereby you just cross the midline, you tap on the defenders, you come back, you score a point.
We also spoke with team captain Nalubega, who expressed confidence in their preparation and readiness for the challenges ahead.
We are ready for the African Cup. We are going to Nairobi on Saturday. We are here for flag off and it's done. Our coaches have done their work and we are sure that we are going to bring back the trophy. And we are very prepared, knowing that we are the defending champions and we are going to defend that trophy.
Kabaddi game was introduced in Uganda in 2017, and by 2019, the Kabaddi Federation of Uganda was officially registered with the National Council of Sports as the governing body responsible for promoting the sport. Internationally, the federation is affiliated with the International Kabaddi Federation in India. Nabachibi Lauryn Masika, Nakabiri Winnie for UBC News.
4 minutes.
And with that, UBC News Tonight has come to an end, but do join us for our second edition at 10 o'clock. We will see you at 10.